Okay, guys, thanks again for listening to another episode of the Culture Captures Spotlight podcast. My name is Joe, and on the phone with me today is producer JJTURNMEUP.
Yo, what's up?
Thanks for joining us today, man.
For sure.
So like we were kind of just talking about, you've worked a little bit with Chase the Money. You've helped co-prod some of the songs on his latest projects, and you've also worked with Raffy the Plug on some of his songs. So can you talk about what it's been like working with them, and just, let's just start there.
Yeah, it's been like an overall like cool experience like working with like Chase and shit. Like that was like the first like real person to like who's like up to like really mess with me and stuff. So it was like it was cool. So I was like, bro, like I gotta keep going with this. So I kept messing with dude and he kept messing with me and just popped off. And ever since then we just kept working. Like our energy just keeps us flowing and bouncing off and going.
Do you work with him in person, or do you work with him do you work with him like virtually?
Both. Like at first, like he found out about me virtually. But then like I started going to LA, and so me and him like kind of just do like both back and forth.
So and how do you find you?
He found me like through my Instagram page because I used to like DM him because I was like a fan of his music like even before he knew me. So it was kind of just like on some cool stuff. I kept like DMing him, and he kept seeing my messages and like liking them. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna keep messaging him. Then one day he was like, yo, like you trying to work, and I was like whoa, type stuff. So I was just like, let me keep going with this.
That's really cool. And like,
Yep.
what were you doing? What were you doing before? Like before he hit you up, and like when you kind of were like just kind of slid into his DMs and just messaging him like as a fan. Like, what were you working on in terms of your music, and like where were you at in your career?
Like right before that, I had my like first big placement with like Yak Gotti.
Oh, yep.
He kind of saw that. He sent me and he like sent me like flame emojis and stuff. He's like, you might as well let me turn you up type thing. So I was like, all right, bet. So we just kept working off of that, off the string.
And
He really was messing with my sound.
how the Yak Gotti placement happened?
Like through email, my boy on Froze, he was like, yo, like I got this email for Yak Gotti. This is like before he was like, this is like when he was like first got free. So I was like, all right, bet. So I'm gonna keep sending stuff to his email. So me and Yak Gotti got at least like 10 songs together, but it's only like one that dropped on YouTube.
So you got more common with him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because when I was looking up your Instagram last night, like getting ready for the interview, I remember seeing that, and I forgot to mention it earlier, but he's super cool. And like, do you feel like with like the YSL circle in general, like, do you want to be tapped in with them more going forward? Would you say that's like a goal of yours?
Yes, most definitely. That's like one of my dream places to like be on like anything with like YSL.
What did you think of Slime Language 2?
That shit was hard. I definitely messed with that one.
Yeah. So how long have you been producing? Like, when did you start just making music? Not necessarily putting it out, but like when do you kind of like first remember like having a liking for making it?
And I think I started when I was like 15. Like I'm 18 now, but I started like in my sophomore year of high school because I really was like before like even like making my first beat, I was really like into like Detroit music and stuff. And I really love like Detroit instrumentals, and I would just like throw them in like garage band and just like start messing with them. And I was like, all right, well, when I turned 16, I got like my first job, and then I got my laptop, and I just downloaded FL Studio, and I really started making beats and went up from there.
Do you just use FL, or do you use like Logic Pro or other ones?
No, I just FL Studio. I don't really use it. One day I want to try like Ableton and stuff, but that's in the future.
I've heard Ableton's like, I don't produce, but I tried to, and I was really bad at it. A lot of my friends do and stuff. But I've heard that Ableton is like the hardest one out of all of them.
Yeah, Ableton, like, it's a little, like, more difficult. I had somebody, like, one of these folks from, like, Brockhampton, they tried to show me how to use Ableton, but I just really haven't downloaded it and really got into it. Kind of in, like, a work mode where I just got to keep learning and keep growing with the stuff I already know right now, so.
Cool. And like, what city are you from?
I'm from Jacksonville, Florida.
Oh, cool.
Outside.
Oh, cool. All right. So like what's just like the Florida music scene like growing up in Florida, like who like what rappers were you listening to before you were putting music out, and like now that you're an artist, like who are some rappers that are just in the Florida area that you really want to be like working with?
I think like in the future, I probably want to work with like Kodak Black, maybe get a song with Young Boy. I want to get a song with Ski Mask Slump God too. I know he's down here from Florida.
Yeah.
Lil Pump, all done. So definitely want to tap in with the Florida scene a little bit.
Yeah, what was it like what were some of your what are some like underground artists that like some people may not know a lot about in the Florida area that you may be listening to?
I don't really have any like underground rappers specifically in Florida that I'm listening to in like general. I really don't get like tapped in with like underground Florida artists. I get tapped in with like underground like Detroit artists and underground Chicago artists mainly.
Oh, okay. So who are you tapped in with in Chicago?
My boy Kid Carter, Valet,
You said Valet, sorry, like it chopped up a little bit.
yeah, Valet, Belisav, Kid Carter,
Oh, cool.
all them folks out there. Those my folks.
That's hard. And
So
like how did you get paired up with Valet?
Valet, really through like chasing like Kid Carter for real, because Kid Carter is Valet's brother.
Oh, okay. So have you I'm assuming you've worked with them like in person in the studio and stuff?
No, I actually haven't. We for sure, but those are my boys.
You cut out again, bro. Sorry.
No, you good. I was saying that I haven't linked with them yet, but I'm about to this summer.
Oh, okay. That's right. What are you gonna go out to LA or whatever?
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool. When did you start making like you said earlier, when you were talking about like the Chase stuff, how you like for that's when you first kind of started going to LA. Like when did you start making those trips? Because that's kind of a big deal for people in this industry. You know what I mean? Like when you first start making those trips, especially like at your age. So when did you kind of first start doing that and like kind of talk about it a little bit? You know?
I started like going like I just started going in like February, I think. I went to February for 1 week, and then I went I think it was March for 2 weeks. So I'm gonna go back out there for a few months after.
Oh, okay. That's pretty
So
cool.
yeah, so I've just been going out there, and like my first time was like my first time like stepping like out of the studio, like out of my own like personal like home studio and stuff. So it's kind of just like everything was brand new to me, like working with people, studio etiquette, all that good stuff. So it was really like brand new to me, and that's when I really started like putting myself in work mode.
Talk about that like work mode you just said, like going more into detail about like what it's like kind of being in your bag, if you will. You know what I mean?
Right, like in LA, like it's like no distractions. Like what you're in there for is what you're there for. So what you doing? Like I'm making beats like all day long, tapping in with other people all day long, networking, like getting up. Like what's the next move? Like every day, all day, I could be in 3 different studios in one day. Like just work mode, connecting, doing what you got to do.
I feel like that's like the producer grind too. Is like when you go to LA and like you're not from LA. You know what I mean? Like you're out there and it's really head down. Like you know, there's no type of rotation and schedule. It's just like studio, 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 right?
Yeah, for sure. Like it's never like a planned out, like scheduled out day. It's kind of just like whatever the move is, you just go and do it.
And like, were you expecting that? Like the first time you went out there?
I don't know. To be honest, I really didn't even know what to expect. I kind of just went there and seen what it was like, and I was like, wow, like we really been in like work mode like all day, every day. So it was very brand new to me.
Yeah, that's cool, bro. And I want to talk about your like recent placements. Like Chase the Uchis just dropped like what the time of recording this a few days ago, on all platforms, and his SoundCloud tape too. You have a couple like placements on that, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So actually got that Chase the Uchi thing. That was my first week in LA, and he was like, yo, like send me some loops. I was like, all right, bet. So I sent like some loops that me and my boy Max Kruger did, and so he was like, oh yeah, I'm messing with this one. And he was like, I'm gonna play it for Ralphie tomorrow, and the next day I was actually leaving LA, so he ended up playing it for him the next day, and he got on it. And then eventually, Problem and Good Finesse got on that too.
Yeah, what was it like seeing like other rappers hop on your song? Like you're expecting it just to be kind of like Chase's thing and see where he takes it, but then you see like 3, 4 artists kind of hopping on something you made.
That's really dope. Like it's dope. Like to see like work with other people that you don't even know, and then you can find out about them, and then find out they're actually like cool people, and you can tap in with them as well. Cause you're like, hey, I got work with you.
Yeah, right. You kind of like open that door and like build a new bridge in terms of like, oh, word, I can start sending you packs and stuff like that.
Nah, for sure.
Yeah, that's cool as hell. And like what do you think really made you get into producing? Like what was like kind of the calling for you to like, damn, I'm gonna just start doing this? Was it like just seeing like how many people were doing it, or was it like something kind of more personal?
Like honestly, I just really like love music. Like it's really like nothing more than that. Like I was like a fan like of making beats before I really knew like anything about like producer culture and like anything like that. It was just something that came naturally, and then really with like I think I really started loving like beats a little bit more when I started like hearing like more like Detroit beats and just listening to like little stuff. And I was like, well, I want to try this. And then eventually it just took off, and I kept advancing and kept getting more, progressing in my, in my style and stuff like that. So
If you like, it's kind of hard. Like I don't want you to box yourself in. You know what I mean? Because it's like
yeah,
that's kind of doing yourself a disservice. But like, kind of describe yourself for listeners. You know what I mean? Like, what? How would you describe your like? If you were to make a pitch to like your favorite artist, how would you describe your style?
I don't know. I would kind of describe it kind of like weird. I like to make like weird stuff, but like weird stuff like in a cool way. Like you wouldn't notice. I'm like I make my beats a little bit different than everybody else. So like if you get in like the studio with me, I think, well, this kind of weird, but it sound fire. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, no, and like, what do you think about just artists in general that are moving in the more experimental like sound route versus kind of like your cut, copy, paste beats? You know what I mean?
yeah, I mess with that. That's why I like to find artists who like tapping into a whole different their own wave. Because to be honest, if everybody cutting up into the same wave, nothing's gonna pop out. But if you making your own wave, it's gonna take you to the top.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I don't know. Do you feel like the importance of sounds like with recent shit like TikTok and like that being a huge focus in the industry? As a producer, do you kind of think about that in the back of your mind sometimes? Like, damn, like I could make like some quirky ass beat or like just something different as hell and like watch it blow up on that platform.
Right, like that would like bring in like hella streams and stuff, just like simple stuff, or like something weird that would like create like a trend or like a dance or even just like memes in general. Like that would like go crazy, bring a lot of traction to your profile, the artist profile, your career, how your career grow. So I really think about stuff like that too.
Yeah. Um, let's talk about you a little bit in terms of just like what you do on the side in terms of music and stuff. Like, have you finished high school yet?
I'm about to graduate in like 2 weeks.
No, congrats, man. Are you gonna do college or no?
No, I don't. I think college is a scam, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I'm in the middle of it, so
Yeah.
yeah, it can be limiting, especially when you're trying to travel. Like for people listening out there who are in college, like go for like what your major requires. You know what I mean? But like if you feel like there's a path, especially with music, you know what I mean? Like you can really just skip out on all of those loans, skip out on those big payments and like those big decisions. You know what I mean? And just focus on what you want to build.
If you don't know what you're doing in college, I mean, what you doing there?
Exactly. Yeah. I don't blame you, man. Like it especially now, like I feel like even 15, 20 years ago though, like there wasn't as much pressure on kids like our age cuz like I'm around your age. Like I'm 20, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I was going through it like just like you were a couple years ago with the whole college thing and it's like I feel like that pressure now in like society and in schools and shit, like it just doesn't matter for like what you're trying to do in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? Like especially if it's out in like a different industry. You know what I mean? Like if you're doing some science stuff or medical nursing, whatever, engineering, like there's obviously certain majors like you got to go to school for, but I think there's still so much out there that like you can still just like jump into and like producing is an example of it in the music industry, especially because it's like you can create right at your own home. Like you just need certain packs and like a space to do it.
Right, exactly.
Like I'm assuming when you started, like you weren't in studios day one, were you?
Nah,
Right.
I had to build my own studio.
Exactly.
It's like my own full setup.
Exactly. And it's like it takes effort and hustle, but it's like when you put that hustle and effort forward every day for like it builds, and like I'm assuming like that's how you've kind of gotten to get where you've gotten so far, right?
Right. Just invest in yourself.
Yeah, that's hard, man. I mean, how do you feel about like the people around you? Like, do you feel like you have a raw support team and shit?
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't be around them if they weren't a real support team. Like, I feel like people who push me every day to do better, if they're not doing that, then I don't know why I'm talking to you. If we're being honest. Like, people who push me, like, hey, do this, or hey, I'm finna send, like, you know, this pack to this person. Can you send me these? Or you need to come out here to do this and that. Like, people who push me to get out of my comfort zone and do what I gotta do, those are the people I want to be around.
Yeah. And what are some hobbies that like you have? You know what I mean? Like, what are some things that you do in turn like that just isn't music? You know what I mean? Like when you have the free time.
To be honest, I really don't be doing anything else except for music. Like this the only thing I really do.
That's all. You don't have like so it's music like 70 hours of the week.
Like I go music, it's like school, music, and that's literally it.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I mean, again, like with high school, it's not like college where it's like, you know, you can bend your time a lot. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how, like, credit to you for real to be able to, like, finish and, like, get out and, like, get the diploma and everything. Because it's, like, it's really, really hard to, people don't understand. Like, doing school in any kind of capacity and, like, trying to be in the industry is very challenging because the industry is demanding, especially when you're an artist, you know?
Right. Like going to like LA and stuff. Like, and I was going to LA and I was doing like online school.
Yeah, right.
I was doing online school, and I was like having trouble like when I was going to LA. So I was like, you know, I gotta keep coming back home and trying to catch up on work and finish school. So it is difficult for like balance, like you know, school and you know, music.
And where, like, do you feel like the pandemic in a way kind of like with the online schooling, like how long were you online for?
I've been like online like all year, like just because I wanted to like keep focusing on music and be able to do it like off from home.
Yeah, was it easier for you to be all online? I'm guessing it was like way easier to be mobile and stuff and like make those trips to LA.
Out of school or like missing school because I could just log in my computer and sign in, you know, do attendance. That's it.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So what are some things you see yourself doing in the future? Like, who are some other producers in the industry that you haven't had the chance to work with or cross paths with that like one day you will work with type thing?
I definitely want to get in with Pirates. I want to get in with my boy Kill Retta, Richie South, Southside of course, Metro. Yeah, I think that's it.
What do you said Southside, of course, like where would you rank him in terms like right now, you know, in the landscape of producers, where would you kind of put him in your like personal opinion?
He's definitely like top dogs for sure. Like he's definitely like one of my inspirations. Like especially when I first like started, I was just going on YouTube, look up Southside Live and all that stuff. It just inspired me to like get up, start making beats. So he's definitely like one of the top dogs I want to work with.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
DY Crazy, ATL Jacob, and all of them too.
Yeah, I feel like the whole like just 808 Mafia crew, like their beats are just something different. You know what I mean? Like they just have a different punch to them. Like my friends in the scene who are producers and shit, like it's the same reach in terms of like, yeah, we want to be in with them. You know what I mean? And like I feel like that's just a general consensus with the artists too. Is like every big project has Southside's hands on it somewhere. Like he's got at least one or three co-prods or whatever it is. So
most definitely.
yeah, and the way he's been moving for years too, it's like it's kind of raw. You know what I mean? And
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I hope he starts rapping again.
Yeah, me too. You need to drop the album.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So you earlier too, when you were just talking about it, you were saying like you used YouTube a lot to kind of like teach you and like kind of show you like I'm assuming type beats, right? And like that whole notion of like I can search people I fuck with, you know, in my ears and like learn what they're doing. Like how instrumental was that for you to just kind of get to the point where you're at now?
It was like to be honest, like when I was learning how to like make beats and stuff like on a computer and stuff, like I was really just looking up like Chase the Money Live, Pyrex with these like 5 beats from like a laptop. I want to do it too. So I just kept watching them and kept like learning that, and that's crazy because at the end of the day, Chase reached out to me.
Yeah, that's pretty special, man. I mean, it's definitely a pretty like ridiculous feeling when like you get that reach out from a big artist and like that connection kind of starts and like I don't know. Can you talk about it again a little bit? Like what was kind of going through your mind? Almost not like business wise, just kind of like as a person, like shit, this is really about to kind of like be different now.
Yeah, cause I was like first person like with a big following with a blue check like reach out to me, so I was like, whoa, like things really about to change now. Like I could really like do what I want to do.
And like when you graduate from high school, like, is the plan for you to kind of stay in Florida, or are you trying to maybe pop out to LA more like full time?
Probably pop out to LA a little bit.
There we go. Yeah, that's cool, bro. I mean, I don't really have much else, honestly, to ask. So, can you tell people where to find your music and like where to follow you on social media and stuff?
Definitely check me out on Instagram and Twitter at JJTURNMEUP. You can follow my SoundCloud too at JJTURNMEUP. And then if you look up, Prod JJTURNMEUP on YouTube, you can find all my work. And a lot of it's on SoundCloud as well.
Perfect, man. Well, everybody, thank you for listening to this episode of the Culture Captures Spotlight podcast. Tune in again next week for another episode.